Lovely people, it is a fact that leadership is built and developed in a society where those that are part of it feel and support such skills and even the talents. So today we want to talk about student leadership, because as a matter of fact, this is where most of those who lead us at the county level or even the national level start from. This is where they're built. So we want to talk about matters student leadership and even matters national politics related to the student life. And with me here on the bench is the very same bench I had when we were talking about HELB. We have two gentlemen, but again, because maybe you are watching it for the first time, I'll give them time to introduce themselves. Let me start with my farthest left. Senior, kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Wycliffe Omondi Odhiambo, also known as Delamark. I am a student at JKUAT, pursuing Bachelor of Science in Medical Microbiology. I'm currently in the 4th year, first semester, and also working on a project to solve about cervical cancer that I'll be working on, God willing, if it goes well. I thank God for that, the success.
Wonderful. I'm really waiting for this, and I'm really waiting to see it. I want to believe we'll have a bit of a discussion about it when the right time comes.
Yeah.
Yes, Senior. Introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about something that I have a deep passion for. Something that I feel like is what is going to reform the public, is what is going to reform Kenya, and is what is going to reform Africa and the whole world. Here I am going to talk about life, because I feel like leadership is life, because you usually say that you lead your life. My name is Minister Radak Sami Okoth. You can call me the living stone, or the earthquake that shook or trembled that stone, or the lightning that spilled that stone. Thank you so much.
I'm telling you, very serious people. eh? Delamark and Minister Radak. So, my brothers, you know, I'm so passionate about student leadership. I'm so passionate about politics, because I believe this is something that directly or indirectly will at one time affect or has affected any citizen in any country or any society. So just to start with, when I was in school some time back, we had a very strong union of students that could really voice for the interest of the students. And we even had one who is currently the MP, Babu Owino, who was even being arrested for championing for the rights of students. But currently, I really see you people are so cool. I don't know if it is just that you've learned a different tact of approaching things, or maybe it is your own way of doing it. I'll start with you, Senior.
Okay, this is a very big point to discuss, because it goes hand in hand with the comrade's life. So university leadership, to start with, has really gone down. It is not performing. Actually, I can rate it 1/10, because they are literally doing nothing. This is because democracy, the way it is, there are some people who are passionate to serve, and then there are people who are going for the titles, and then there are people who are looking at what others have done in the past in the same capacity. They are admiring it, but they know very, very well that they can't do it, but they are going for it anyway. So these are the current people that we have. I think I can't call them leaders anymore. I call them cowards, because there is nothing sensible that they can do. When comrades are suffering, they are just there. And they have made things, tough things, that are disturbing comrades. to look like very little things.
Yes.
Yeah, they hear comrades saying everywhere in the social media space, saying how help is less, they should be added, how it is delaying, but then they are just quiet. I don't know whether they are being given something, or they are just got to sleep, or they are just not even knowing their roles. To some extent, I really think these people, some of them, they are holding titles that they don't know how to work for. They are not accountable to the post that they are holding. So I'll say, if there are people that really feel the pain that comrades are going through, then they're the people that should go for this post.
Okay.
You don't want flower girls or some or people who are the current situation that we are in is a lot of pressure. Somebody who just want to be a university president for the pride, just for the title. I am the president of Jomo Kenyatta University, and that person, even leave alone even the outside, within the university, he knows nothing. Literally, he knows nothing. So these are the people who are making the leadership go. I think die. Yeah, die. So if we compare with the regime of the likes of Honorable Babu Owino and this one, it is a lot of difference. You can't even compare the current leadership with the ones that existed before. Yeah. So we can get to facts and go for things we can. If you know you can't work for something, just leave it for people. At the end of the day, there are people who can do it even without you.
Yeah.
So don't go for something to occupy the space while sitting on the potentials that can be unleashed by someone else. Yeah.
So to support what he's saying, or maybe to talk against it, because he's even referring to them as flower girls, like the current caliber of leaders. I'd wish to ask you this question. Is it not the students who elect these people to blame? Or is it also not the students? Because I've also seen student leaders expelled and students did nothing. So is it not also a problem with the students who are kind of, to me, not united to support a cause that make these people behave how they're behaving? If what you are saying is the truth?
So that's a tricky one, because I don't know how I'll talk about a leader being expelled. You know, it depends on what they did. Because I don't think that practicing leadership can directly lead to someone being expelled. That is something that I believe cannot be done. Actively practicing leadership cannot lead to someone. And if you are an aspiring leader, I tell you, don't be afraid that you are going to be expelled because of pursuing leadership or doing the right thing as a leader. But for the students who are, you are asking if the students are to be blamed, you can't also blame the students. That's the funny thing. You can't also blame the students. You can't also blame the leader. It's like it depends on a range of what are the things that are happening during that time. But just to talk about it generally, a leader with a vision will show the vision to his people. And if the people, for instance, because maybe you are talking from experience, if the people, for instance, the followers didn't manage to maybe help their leader while being expelled from X university or X college, then maybe the leader didn't have the vision for his members or his subjects in mind. And that's why they didn't protect him, maybe when he was being expelled. Because I feel like if you have the correct mission and vision for your people, and they feel like you are going to be eliminated from being their leader, I think they will go even to the grave with you. Yes. So what I could just say is that we need leaders. Because I can't also blame the leaders that are in there, maybe in different positions, because I am also a student leader myself. So I won't blame anyone. In fact, I will put the mantle on all of us any leader at any level that you are, what are you doing yourself? What are you doing? And I feel like you should try and have the biggest, the clearest vision of what you want for your people. And with that, that one is going to guide you. I understand that in the 21st century, people are so much inclined to being misguided because of the social media stuff, being misguided due to lack of mentorship, because maybe mentorship even from our parental figures, we have depreciated in that, because we have parents who maybe don't know about mentorship. We have and also another problem that I would like to maybe talk about, that maybe the leaders need to look into, is how easy getting leadership is. Because if you look at the trend correctly, it's usually it's nowadays very easy to get leadership, because maybe you can pay some people, you can lie, you can seduce women to get leadership.
You have so many women voting you in.
You have so many women, you have kawarembo sako somewhere, so they influence people for you to get leadership. So they should really keep that in check. As much as you are getting it easy, the leadership, you need to be careful, because something that comes easy goes easy. Yeah, I think generally that. I don't know if I've answered you.
Sure. Here at JKUAT, or JKUAT as you call it, which mode of election do you use? Is it a popular voting system or delegate?
Delegate system.
Delegate system. Which one would you prefer and why?
Okay. Personally, I will prefer popular voting because the delegate system has failed. The delegate system is the factory that is manufacturing weak leaders. Because a whole JKUAT or in any institution, we are talking generally, but then you will find out of over 30,000 students or over 20,000 students, only like 200 delegates have come out of that. So from where you sit, you can see how it is easy to manipulate 200 people than to manipulate 30,000 people. Yeah, so these are people that a comrade can just decide to take them to, out somewhere and give them some goodies and give them some token, and then they come back and vote them regardless. So this is why we are sinking. We are sinking. The government came up with this idea of a delegate system, but for me, it is wrong. It is wrong because we are not getting our space to speak through the ballot like it is done nationally. You know, when you elect a government, you feel that your grievance is going to be tackled. But then if some few people sitting somewhere in a room, they are pretending to be representing you, but then they can be swayed depending on who dances best. The best bidder, the highest bidder, will always win them. So I see that the leaders that we get at the end of the day, that they are not the leaders, they are dealers. Yeah, they are dealers. There are people who use some gymnastics, you know, with this politics. There is the deep state and whatever. They're going into these offices and making some arrangement on top there, and then coming and manipulating these delegates. It is very easy. It is a simple task that someone can comfortably take even a loan of up to 300,000 and say, I must back this. I will give this 100,000 to the delegates. I will use this 50 to bribe who. It is very simple. But then when we come in full numbers, how will you bribe us? Sure. We will let ourselves elect the person who we are sure is going to represent us. Yeah. And that by then we come up with a strong leader. The government is feeling threatened, I must say that. The government felt threatened when they scrapped off the popular voting and brought in this weak system. They felt threatened because you remember through that is when the comrades were really practicing what it takes to be in those offices. But since the day we have all people withstand even one canister of tear gas. They are not even willing to run for 1 meter. There are people who are very weak. So, you know, through the popular voting, we will see the strongest person who can represent us. Somebody who can maneuver through a smoke of canister, but then representing the comrade. Let the government not feel threatened. Why are
take a photo? Yeah. You are told, man, you should not go to a studio to do photo.
You take
do
a photo
it
there.
within the tear gas.
Yeah, so that is why I really oppose this delegate system. I've seen it here in school. I'm not saying the leaders in JKUAT are bad, but I've seen it here. I've seen it elsewhere. It is cutting across. I must say that it is cutting across that the delegate system is wrong, very wrong, and very wrong. It will never be right.
Okay. 2 minutes, Aradak. You know, in the fight for multi-party democracy in Kenya, students played a very key role. And we even had students, others detained, others expelled, others even had to run to exile. But of course, in real sense, because of the role they played, in combination to the efforts of other people, multi-party democracy was achieved. So I'd wish to ask you that, just briefly, because I know it's a very long topic, but just briefly, what is the role of the student in the national politics?
You know, just as trees dry up, just as plants dry up, old people can die. Old people can become, I don't want to say useless, but old people can become, can reach their leadership menopause, let me say that. So students are there to ensure that there is continuity in leadership. You get, because if you only have old people, let me say you have a committee of maybe people who are 50 years and above. In the next 20 years, there's high probability that you are going to remain with only half of them, or around that number. So the students, they are there to ensure that there is continuity in the leadership. Number two, the reason for students being there is to ensure that development, all the enaction and maybe enaction and reinforcement of laws, they capture everyone. Because you are not only dealing with big people or old people, you are dealing with, it's a country that encompasses everyone, encompasses even the students, encompasses even the small kids. It's only that small kids can't take leadership roles. That's why we need students to be there, so that they can represent, because they are also in this country and they have rights. So they are there to ensure that the rights are also passed to the students. You get. So, and also in multi-party, from the word itself, multi-party, it's like we don't want to create a system that is dominated by only a specific maybe clan or a specific tribe or a specific maybe people. It's a multi-party. We can include everyone, and students are there as a show of unity. Because now we can say that confidently that everyone is represented. So long as you have what it takes, you can be in a different party. Yes.
Okay. How can one spice up or trigger the spirit of comradeship?
How?
Can one spice up, if at all it is there, so you want to make it bigger? Or as a leader, let's say you are a leader here at school, and then you feel like there's something you want to achieve. Maybe you've tried diplomacy and it is not working. You've tried approaching the administration, it's not working. So you want to maybe get it by power, and the power vested to you by the students. So you want to spice up, if at all it exists, the power of comradeship, or you want to trigger it if it is not there. How can you achieve that?
Okay, it is always clear that comrade's power is the next power to God's power. Nothing comes between that. So, in this country, we work with the Constitution of 2010. The Constitution provides for picketing. Picketing and presenting our grievances to the respective places. So, if the diplomacy fails, I prefer the peaceful picketing or any form of picketing, as long as it goes with that name. Then,
picketing.
Bora the grievances are hard. If it is about the help money, people picket to the anniversary towers. We represent our grievances there. They act on them. But we find that in this country, no one is obeying the Constitution. We are being told that you can picket, But then when you picket, it is being used against you as if you are bringing up commotion. While in reality, they know what they are doing. They know that they are depriving you of your right, but they don't want to listen to that. So that is why we find that our leaders are also having harder time to represent us, because when you go there, you find the authorities want to go after you. The university itself is like wanting to discontinue it. It has happened with some leaders in the past. When you organize students to go and represent your ideas wherever it is, you find that the administration even also is against you. The government is also running after you with the rubber bullets and sometimes even live rounds. So you see, it is very difficult being a leader in this country, especially in the comrade setup, because comrades are people who are energetic. Yeah. That is why leading comrades is even difficult than leading the whole nation, because comrades, they are people who are having new ideas every day. There are people who are seeing new wrongs every day, and there are people who knows how the right thing should go. So these are very difficult people to lead. So when you find that there are things that are pressing you towards one end, and you also as a person being a leader, your personal life and well-being is also concerned, you can't really get discontinued because of representing people. It is very difficult because your parents are also counting on you. The community is looking after you to some extent if you are the one in the community. So you find that comrade leaders are getting themselves between hard rock and something very harder than the rock. So I don't know how to call this situation, but that is where they find themselves. So you find most of them making peace with the fact that I don't have to do it. Let me finish my term. Let me just sit in this office. When the term is gone, I'll be gone. And somebody else will come and handle this pressure. Because when you try to do this, it is wrong. When you try to do this, it is wrong. But then comrades want you to do this. So what do? Just have to let everything, you go silent, you wait for the end of the term. So that is what most of them do. Yeah.
Okay. So Radak, you know, in most cases, I hear students complain that the administration had interest in these elections. So it did not go how we wanted it to go. Administration kuna venye waliingia. What makes administration be part of or like get interest in this thing? And is it the right thing for administration to be interested?
You know, that's a really hard topic because I could be worked just by even mentioning such names, but because I am a bold guy the way I am, I'm going to talk about it.
Yes. That is why we have you here, because you're bold.
The administration is not ready for the pressure from the comrades. In fact, the administration is not ready for the comrades. Because actually what I usually feel like is like the administration of different institutions, there's usually a blind game that they're usually playing with their people. And it's like they don't usually want interruptions in what they do, some of their programs, or even some of the things that they do. And what I usually feel like, because it's not a lie that administrations are usually interested in the leadership. They're usually interested in controlling the leadership so that they ensure that they have control over even some of the laws that are enacted in some of these colleges. Because it's like you know, in colleges there are laws, and because the institution is for the students. You get? So if they usually feel like if they give the students too much power to enact what they want, they're going to be in a state of, should I say, powerlessness, or maybe lose control over the students. And I feel like the administration usually wants to gain full control of the students, of the students' even welfare, so that they can even increase fees. Because I've even in some of the institution you get information that there are fees that have been raised without notice. There are maybe prices of maybe different maybe eating points in the school have been raised. Yeah, they're just things that have been input, laws that have been input without the willingness of the comrades. Maybe some things that are directly working against the comrades. But the administration is interested in putting them there So they want like to have a pawn, a piece that they can push the way they want, to ensure that with the moves they make, they get their way, so that they can enact their laws, they can do what they want, they can manipulate how they want. I think that is basically what the administration is usually interested in. And there have been cases in even different institutions. You find there is a case that maybe even went to court, or even went to in different places about maybe the administration fighting with the students. The court find them guilty of interrupting the students' elections. There are things that are happening. So there are things that are there, and those are the reasons that I've explained.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the Lamarck, you know, during elections, in the campuses, these higher learning institutions, the contestants, majority tend to use a lot of money. Yeah. And you realize that somebody who thinks of investment comes in, and if the Lamarck wants to be the president of, let's say, JKUAT, or Radak here wants to become maybe the president of KU or UN, this person comes in and then sponsors you. And then they tells you now, after you are in, you make sure that the student center, 90% is mine, or I am the person who speaks there. And it happens. I've visited over 100 higher learning institutions, and I've realized that it happens that one person like takes up or takes over these student centers, and in real sense, sometimes they are not even students, because they had money, they are working out there, and then they are here now using the student center to maybe just amass wealth, or, and they even intimidate students who try to be part of that center. How can we handle this, and how can we approach it?
Okay, approaching this, I think I'll still go back to the universal voting. No, in politics, there is using money, and also there is winning the vibe of the people. People can elect you without money, as long as they love you. So when they bring up this delegate system, you find that these delegates want to get some money. That's why they are there. So if this money is given to them, definitely they will vote this person. And that is how these cartels get into controlling all these student centers in all these universities are controlled by these cartels. It is something that is known everywhere. While the student center is something that it should be for students to try to make some money out there to support themselves by doing some business there, small businesses. But then you find these cartels controls this student center, all of them. You find that when the window is open, I have seen this scenario, when the window of applying for these rooms are open, you find one person, that one cartel, after filling his best people in the government, one person sponsoring like 20 students to apply for those shops. You find that out of these 20, none of these students are willing to get this room. It is this person who is filling them for these positions. You find that now when the interview is done, out of these 20, you can be sure that out of these 20, 10 will secure rooms. And these rooms are still secured with that same cartel that has been there. So whatever you do, they will always have their ways with this. So there is a kind of, I think, sanitization or what. Or I think also there should be a board equal to EACC, but really working closely to look into student affairs in the universities. Things that are affecting students at a close range. Such things like. So that we know who is this person who is filling these candidates to get these rooms, and then continue doing business over and over again while students are suffering. Yeah.
As we finalize, Minister Radak, you know, if you look around, there are so many organizations that are for students, or bodies for students, Africa, in the world, like globally. We even have some of these students in some of these parliaments. at times unashtukia tu like, oh, there's such a position. Like you don't even get to know when these elections are done. But in real sense, we want real representation. What do you think should happen, or what do you really think should be put in place to ensure we have real student representation and real student leadership, both at the campus level and also at the national, the continent, and even the global level?
I don't know if I've catched your question directly, but you're asking what we can do to maybe improve the student leadership.
Yeah, to ensure we have real representation, leadership that have students' affairs at heart, and student lives matter to them, both at the campus level, nationally, continental, and even globally, because we have different student organizations.
So I'll start by, because at the basic level of student organization, we have the student organization in the schools. They're usually the student organization in different schools, the colleges or universities. There are different student organization. I think the first thing is to scrap off this delegate system, because if we are trying to train these students to become national leaders, and in Kenya I've never seen a president being voted for by delegates. So why do you put these students in university to be voted for delegates? Is that really training them? That's why I usually feel like there's lack of mentorship in leadership. There is totally lack of that in Kenya, for example, and generally in Africa. There's usually lack of mentorship, because leaders are not trained prior. They are not trained, so they don't know what to do. They are lost. They don't have purpose. They don't have a vision. They are lost completely. You find them engaging in things that don't really resonate with what a leader should do. So the first thing is to scrap off this delegate system. Let people be voted for by general public, where they can struggle, where they can clearly show their prowess, so that to convince people that they are the best deal. Another thing that the government should do is maybe provide, there are women representatives, but I've never seen a youth representative in the government. They should provide maybe a youth representative, maybe one student, they choose one student to present the youth.
You know, when you talk of youth representative, I tend to laugh, because my senator, who is the only orphan, young and handsome man, Dr. Uburu himself, there's a time he represented the youth in the East Africa Legislative Assembly.
Now look at that.
So,
An old man the size of my.
So you see, yeah. So continue.
Yeah. So something like that. They need to actually let the youths represent themselves, because you can't put an old man to represent the youth. He doesn't understand. They don't understand what the youths are passing through. They don't understand the grievances and the needs of the students or the youths. You need to put a youth to actually lead the youth. It is only a blind man who can teach other blind men how to walk while blind. As a man who can see, you can only show them this is the way. But actually, to get the skills, you actually have to be blind to actually teach the inward skills. You have to be an engineer for you to teach an engineer. So you can't put someone who is not a youth to lead the youth. It's not going to work that way. And I think the government should put mentorship programs and support these youths. Maybe even throw some funds to them to support this organization, because I've seen so many organizations of the youth that maybe the youths have started themselves, which maybe they even spend their money, they struggle a lot at least to maybe erect maybe different organizations that support the youth. And I've never seen the government coming out and maybe saying that we have spotted this organization is doing really a good job and we want to support them so that we can. I've never seen that. They struggle, they start up organizations, and they suffer from lack of support, and they lose motivation. and they go into hiding, or maybe just lose hope by saying that maybe we can't do it, or maybe we have the wrong idea about all of this stuff. So I think those are some of the things that the government can do.
Okay. Senior,
Yes.
please, this is your final question before I come for your final thought as we finish this.
Yeah.
I'm coming for your final thought. What do you think is the role of the society, most of the parents and the guardians, whoever is now guiding the youths when they are coming up, in ensuring they become good leaders in future, so that they don't get in there and think of corruption, think of eating, and like they be there to do their job rightfully. Because if you look around, we have very funny caliber of leaders. If somebody, a whole cabinet secretary, can tell you that if you are in Kisumu and the cost of unga is 50, just go to Lamu and you'll find the cost of unga will be 20 bob. This is the same country. So what is the role that the parents and guardians should play, and the society at large, ensuring we have good leaders?
Okay, first of all, I think the society, and let me just narrow it down to the parents and the guardians.
Yes.
We should, what is ailing this country politically is politics of deceit. Politics of deceit is what is making other people to thrive while common mwananchi is suffering. So we really need strong parents, people who will really stand for the truth and tell the children that corruption is bad. Corruption is sabotaging the leadership.
Yes.
You cannot be a good leader when you are corrupt. So it is very rare, but I'm very sure. For me, when I become a parent, I think that is something that I must work on as a parent, because corruption has been normalized in this country to an extent that it seems very normal that even once someone is literally stealing money meant for funeral, or money contributed for some burial, and they're eating it comfortably, saying that they want to come out of the block. I don't know who put them in that block. So you heard of that case in Londiani, whereby people who lost their loved ones were not given any money, and you see the government, the official of the government official, including very senior people, went there for that contribution, and then after that, this money is being eaten by people. You are hearing that a pastor was given 100,000 for the service. I don't know, water for people who are drinking. Did they really contribute for the pastor, or did they really contribute for the people who lost their loved ones?
Ama unatoa pesa kwenda kusoma nje inapotea.
And if that really is the case, why would a pastor preside over dead people and then doing that requiem mass, and then he has to be paid a lot, such an amount of money? So I think the community is really rotten to the core, and everybody, including the church, everybody should rise to save this nation, because if you look at where we are right now, I've not gone outside Kenya, but I know when you are in South Africa and then you say Kenya, those people will literally think that you are corrupt, even if you have not eaten any bribe. Because of what? We are really thriving in corruption, and corruption is deep-rooted in this country. Yeah. So we really have to fight this and uproot it out of this nation.
We are competing with other very serious countries in
because
corruption.
For us, we are a third world country, but then people who living here are living in denial. They want to live as people. They want to live like probably people living in Germany or France. But then, if you really admire much than what you can provide for yourself, you literally become a thief. So these people are really stealing from people. Yeah. Okay. So that's why I'm saying the society should just rise and get the facts right that corruption is wrong. Yeah.
Okay. What's your final thought on this? I know we'll still have conversation. This is a big topic, and it's something that can never be depleted. Of course, as he said, comrades keep thinking, comrades keep innovating. And so, what's your final thought just for today? Because we'll still have this conversation.
Just for today.
Yeah.
Because, leadership is really a big thing. And I usually feel like leadership is I feel like leadership is life, just as I started by saying. Because anything that is happening in anywhere, in any niche of life, it's happening because of leadership. You are here because you are a leader. That's why you are going to lead with this program. You are going to lead the rest. Even in business, the one who is a leader, the greatest leader, will make more sales than the one who is a poor leader. In school, the one who leads, the one who is number one, will graduate to the next class, and the last one will not graduate. So leadership is something that is in every aspect of life. In every aspect of life. I'm wearing the watch I'm wearing because of leadership. Because there's someone who is managing the company that is producing the watches, and is ensuring that everything runs as scheduled.
Yeah.
Is ensuring that everything is done in the speculated time, deliveries are done, and all that. So leadership, in any way you look at it, leadership is the best thing that you can ever think of. And there's usually a philosophy that I usually think for myself, where I usually tell myself that the world only rewards those who produce, not those who consume. And for example, let me say you like wearing clean clothes, you like wearing smart clothes, like the tie I'm wearing.
Very smart.
If you just focus on the consumption, you are going to be poor. Because you just focus on spending to consume the ties. You buy a lot of them.
Yeah.
But if you shift your mind to be the mind of a leader, to be the mind of a leader who is a producer, and now you decide that no, this is a cheap thing to make. This is something that I can employ, maybe a tailor.
Yeah.
I can find someone to source the materials. I can find someone to source the lining. I will make ties. I will make them, maybe I'll expend 33 bob, and then I'll send them at 150 shillings or 200 shillings. That's the mind of a leader, and that's the philosophy that I usually like, and I usually encourage even the people that I lead and everyone to try and apply this philosophy in leadership, and they will prosper.
Okay.
You are in that position of leadership. If you don't use it well, you are going just to rely on consuming that small amount of money that you have in that organization. Okay. You are going to be focused on consuming that small amount of money that you have in your country. You want to feed yourself, you want to consume.
Yeah.
But if you shift your mind to be the mind of a leader who produces, you want to produce projects, you want to produce events, you want to produce plans that are going to increase this money. The public will say that, no, he was a good leader and we have to reward him. Let him take half of the money that he has made for us because he delivered us from poverty. He helped us do this. Maybe you are a person who lives in the village. You decide that because you are a leader, you are an MCA, you are going to produce a water project that is going to serve the village.
Yes.
They are going to say that no, because he delivered us from dying from thirst. We are going to pay 5 bob per mtungi for the waters. You are going to get money. Okay. So that's what generally I would like to say to any aspiring leader. Please focus on production, not just consumption. Don't eat that money in that organization. Use that money to do something meaningful, and you are going to be rewarded. God also won't leave you behind. God will reward you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir, briefly please, because of time, just your final thoughts for today.
Oh, for today?
Yeah.
I think we have really touched very key points, and my last statement goes to the comrades themselves. I must say that comrades, you are the people who are suffering. You are the people who know what it takes to go through the daily activities in the university. So I call upon the comrades to be very vigilant when it comes to voting. To be very vigilant, to see, and because at the affect directly or indirectly, but it affects anyway. So it is hard to take this mantle of being very sober when it comes to election, because those handouts, that thing that you can't even, no one has ever invested these small handouts. So I don't see the reason. Just to be sober, go to the ballot, and I'm asking the government, let them not put us in a scenario that you are in 844 curriculum but doing CBC exams. That is what they are trying to insinuate by putting us in delegate system, while the outside politics is not delegate system. Yeah, you are training us something, but then giving us something else in exams. So I think the government should be fair with us enough so that we can catch up with the outside politics. Yeah, because you know, when you can do your politics here and win majority of people, that confidence in you, you move outside there, you even know how to talk to people. Because these people who are being voted in by delegates, I don't regard them as leaders. Because even if you look at their convincing, but they are thriving in deceit, they are thriving in some false promises that we don't like. We want the government to bring us back the popular voting so that we can really see the next, because if we proceed like this in the next generation, or even probably when this generation is now out of sight, they are dead or rather retired, we'll be having a very stock of weak leaders that even the Western government, the way they control this continent, it will be very easy for them to control us once we have these weak leaders who they can comfortably put in a bus and tell them to attend a funeral somewhere, and they sit all of them in the same bus. Yeah, because those are weak people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I do appreciate. I'll call you once again for both tea or coffee.
Nice.
Or we take some nyam chom.
Great.
And also we can sit and discuss issues to do with our traditions, issues to do with agriculture, issues to do with Africa,
Bring it on, bring it
and
on.
issues that will help us grow as a nation and as a people. So I really appreciate your time, and I do thank you for accepting and being with me in this session. Thank you.
That is really nice, and I hope that the next conversation we have is about differentiating between politics and leadership, because I feel like there is a difference that is not really noticeable. People don't notice the difference between politics and leadership because they are different.
Okay.
Not every politician is a leader.
Sure.
Not every leader is a politician.
Sure. And that is why you get that somebody talks too well, very smooth, very articulate. And of course, when he speaks, you feel like you just have some nice feeling and thoughts. But when it comes to delivery, nothing. Other people, they also don't talk. And even when given the mic, they don't know what to say. Delivery, perfect. And we have some people who combine both. Yeah? So we'll have these conversations coming. We'll have this very same bench. We'll have other different guests, so that we can keep discussing and unearthing everything that is necessary. So to religious leaders, society, learning institutions, political leaders, and everywhere that there is a leader, ensure you touch a life. Not that you touch a life that somebody goes out there crying or even wondering why you are called a leader. But touch a life in a positive way, so that when even you are long gone, people still think of you and wish that you are back and leading. Until next time, my name is JKUAT. Bye-bye.